In mobile technology, it's the same thing over and over. New device comes out, new device gets reviewed, new device gets forgotten. Almost no one follows up, no one follows along, no one sticks around to see how well a gadget ages over time, because there's always something new to drool over.
So let's do something about it. Let's take a second look at one of the most expensive Android Wear selections in the market and see if it's still worth its additional premium. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow. This is the Huawei Watch, and this is episode 54 of After the Buzz. According to Michael's review, no other smartwatch exemplified Android Wear more than the Huawei Watch, and in that sense, he was right. Even today, this is one of the few alternatives that offers an elegant design and premium materials for less than $1,000 in all of its variants. The whole idea was indeed to de-emphasize the geeky and turn this into a timeless piece of hardware, and to that extent, some of its features have met the goal and others not so much. As an owner of a legacy Moto 360 that still looks like new today, I had some high hopes for how the Huawei watch would stand the test of time, and that's where things are rather mixed. The 316L cold-form stainless steel is strong against the usual nicks and scuffs you'll see in cheaper materials, but the story is different when it comes to how it handles scratches. Whether you're looking at the brushed side rails or the polished front, this watch looks pretty beat up, even if I can't really say I ever struck a wall with it or something, as I'm sure we all have with watches. The swirl scratches are even more noticeable in the chrome ring that surrounds the front, making it my regular pet peeve every time I glance at the watch. To Huawei's defense though, the scratches are mostly noticeable in warm lighting, and this is something that even premium stainless steel analog watches deal with whenever going for a polished look, and the main reason why a brush finish looks better in competing devices. The 21mm suture-stitched leather band has aged more gracefully though. I've never really been a fan of leather bands given how much I sweat, but aside from some decoloration at the bottom, it still passes as a new band from the front, making it a good buy if you're ever looking for the more affordable Huawei watch. A sapphire display is really what makes this device stand out from most when it comes to its price point, and as expected, it simply hasn't aged at all. Sapphire was definitely a great choice overall from a durability standpoint, giving users a true scratch-free experience overall, and the peace of mind that you really don't have to baby this watch's display for it to continue looking good, something you currently can't do with every other Android Wear smartwatch. Another thing that's aged well here is, believe it or not, Android Wear. Google has done an amazing job at improving the overall experience of the operating system in things that actually make sense. Where devices like the Apple Watch still struggle with things like notifications, Android Wear now groups them in a very intuitive way. If you hated all those Google Now cards that clogged your feed, well, now you actually have the option to have this centralized in just one notification that stacks these into subcards. If you hated not being able to find applications, now it's a simple swipe. Android Wear is clearly still a work in progress that's matured a lot over the last year, and slowly making this my go-to platform, even if I can still choose to use a Pebble timer and Apple Watch any day. And something I really couldn't say in the past about the original Android Wear that we saw years ago. Now to be fair, one of the major reasons that I'm really enjoying using Android Wear lately has a lot to do with the Huawei watch per se. The Snapdragon 400 processor blazes through everything you throw at it, making this one of the most fluid experiences I've ever had with a smartwatch, period. Something I'm sure everyone will value while on the go. The Huawei watch is also the best device to make Android Wear come to life, with its 1.4-inch 400x400 AMOLED display with gorgeous color reproduction and amazing contrast and detail. An elegant timepiece is meant to be a head-turner, and I've never gotten more compliments in my history of using smartwatches than with the Huawei watch, even in its basic always-on mode, which is one of the few that actually includes color in some of its 40 watch phases. About the only problem with using this premium watch in day-to-day use is, well, its lack of a flat tire. I know. What's wrong with me, right? But believe it or not, there is a lot of importance in that particular feature with this watch. This is one of the few Android Wear offerings that lacks a flat tire for an ambient light sensor, which is great for improved aesthetics, but sadly not so much when it comes to usability, mainly because of the use of sapphire. If you're indoors, you really only need medium brightness on this gorgeous display for everything to look crisp and dandy, but try checking the time whenever in direct sunlight. Yeah, I know, you really can't. The sapphire film makes the display completely unreadable in brightly lit conditions, and where an ambient light sensor would have done an amazing job at boosting the brightness whenever you need it. Now, if you did choose to solve that problem at maximum brightness, you'll be happy to know that this is the battery life king of Android Wear. It's probably the only watch that I've ever been able to take for more than a day and a half of moderate to heavy use, though I will disclaim that I did that at medium brightness. About the only thing that I don't like about the battery experience is how terrible it is to align this watch to its charger, but everything else about battery life is just peace of mind overall. And I guess the word peace of mind is the perfect segue to end today's video. Surely our basic variant of the Huawei watch hasn't really aged gracefully when it comes to some of its fit and finish, but Huawei has been rather smart about it. This once was one of the priciest Android Wear offerings, but we've seen the company bring some major discounts to the watch, and making this a good buy for a very important reason, and that's really the fact that as an Android Wear smartwatch, this is pretty much one of the only future-proof devices. See, the Huawei watch is not only the best alternative when it comes to its specifications, but it's also the only current Android Wear watch that houses an inactive speaker, something which we hear will be a big deal whenever Android Wear 1.4 becomes ready for download. Yes, you still could wait and see what events like MWC could bring to the table next month, sure, but if you really want to try Android Wear right now, this continues to be one of the watches we'd recommend most, hands down. Folks, just like in the case of the Huawei watch, every single smartwatch comes of age, and we've got a ton of episodes of After the Buzz to back that up, so make sure you, follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can also subscribe and follow us on Vessel at vessel.com/pocketnow. You can follow me on Twitter at Jaime_Rivera, on Instagram at Jaime Rivera as well. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.